Hello, welcome back to my channel. I know I've been like super MIA lately. Obviously I've just been trying to like keep mentally okay up here with all the like stuff going on worldwide, with like quarantining and stuff. It's been hard on everybody. Everybody's just overall having a time. So like I've just been trying to like keep positive and do like things that I actually like doing. Like, not saying that I don't like doing YouTube, but it's still just very new to me. So I haven't like figured out how I feel about it yet. Like, it's still very much in like the fresh new testing the water state. Anyway, I'm just gonna do a tattoo tour. So I have a couple on my arms. I have 6 total. Sorry mom, you don't know about the 6th one yet. I'm just gonna go in the order of how I got them and like the general story behind each tattoo I have. A lot of them really like, I'm still in the phase of getting tattoos where I don't want to get something like quote unquote stupid in my opinion. Like, I just don't want to get something that's like so major in my life right now, but like later on it's not going to be. And like, I already have a tattoo like that I already kind of regret, so we'll get into that. But let's just go into it. The first tattoo I have is my bats. I have the little bats on my arm. I got these the literal day after I turned 18. Me and my uncle and his wife, we were all driving around, and I don't remember exactly like what we were doing that day or how it even got brought up, but I had mentioned like that when I turned 18 I wanted a tattoo almost immediately, and he made that happen and messaged this tattoo artist that I had known and I had friends go to. He was like the only person that I genuinely knew in my town that tattooed. So I just messaged him, was like, hey, do you have any free time today? And he was like, sure, yeah man, stop in. And it was cool because my uncle didn't have a tattoo either yet. I can't believe I left this out of the story. I'm the worst storyteller ever. But my uncle hadn't had a tattoo yet either. And so it was kind of a really cool day of us getting our first tattoos together. And it was super cool. It's one of my favorite memories I have with him ever. And I'm so glad that like he got the idea to let's get our first tattoos together. And yeah, it was dope. He ended up getting like a quote in Latin on his forearm as well. And that was one he had wanted since he was a kid. And like, it was really funny because on the way to this tattoo shop, my uncle literally looked at me and was like, Tori, you know what you want, right? Like, you already have a set plan of what you want tattooed. And in the moment, it was like every tattoo idea I had ever wanted just so I was just sitting there like, I gotta think of a tattoo. And so I ended up Googling, like, I remember this, and I don't think I've ever told my uncle or my now aunt. I'm pretty sure I have not told them this, even to this day, that literally the moment he said that, where he's like, are you prepared? I Google image searched cute Halloween ideas, and to this day, if you look up like just bat clip art, like this exact tattoo is like the 2nd or 3rd image. Because literally I just showed the guy the picture and he was like, oh, you just want bats flying? I was like, yeah, but I want my whole forearm. And he was like, okay. And he literally just printed it off and like traced it, and that was the end of that. The rest is history. So the next tattoo I got after my first one was rough. It was still senior year because it was pretty, like, they were pretty right on top of each other. My 18th birthday was in December. My birthday is December 4th. Yeah, shout out to all the Sagittarius watching. We're pretty great. I live with a Sagittarius. I live with Sagittarius and Gemini, so like, yeah, let me know who you're quarantined with in the comments, because realistically that makes a difference to how you're doing. But yeah, my second tattoo I got was probably roughly like 4 or 5-ish months after my first one. This one I got was a matching tattoo with my mom. Yeah, so I got the one on my foot as my second tattoo. In the words of RuPaul's Drag Race, that was a choice. My mom always said that, like, she hated tattoos. Like, she hated the idea of them, but she accepted that, like, one day I was probably going to get some and that I was more than likely going to have a lot of tattoos at one point in my life. So she thought it would be cool. The story behind this one is, you can tell, it's obviously a stack of books, and it says apartment 34. So my hometown where I grew up, obviously not where I live now, like, this apartment was after, like, we had gone through a rough time and we hadn't, like, really had a place to call our own. And she had been shown this apartment. But what was ironic was when I was born, it was the same exact apartment she had moved into when I was a baby. So there's pictures of me as a newborn in that apartment. There's also pictures of me in, like, 1st and 2nd grade and up until 3rd grade when I moved. The books below mine, to me, it's because that apartment on the bottom floor was actually a bookstore. And funny story, I've been a nerd my whole life. I used to hang out in this bookstore every single day. After school, before school, like, even, like, you know what I mean? On the weekends, I was there all the time. And it was a thing because my mom was a single mom. So she was, and at the time she was working a lot and she was getting her master's degree as well. And so I wasn't on my own a lot, but obviously, like, there was a lot of times where I had to entertain myself. I had to find my own fun. And so I always ended up at the bookstore, and I would hang out with the lady who owned it, and she was so cool. She would let me stamp, like, her little paper bags she'd put her books in, and she'd always, like, she'd give me a book for free or something, or she'd give me money, and she always gave me snacks, and I loved her. And yeah, it doesn't exist anymore, and it's really sad because, like, it was one of the places when I was a kid that I just really, like, it was like probably my first real exposure to, like, books for sure and literature. And now even to this day, I'm still a huge bookworm. I mean, one day I'll film a room tour and you guys can see my book collection because it's getting out of hand.
Yeah, the apartment 34 is the reason why I don't like elevators either. Fun fact, I hate elevators. It is a thing that unless I'm somewhere serious, like, we're talking the Sears Tower, the Empire State Building, the St. Louis Arch, those are the only places that me, at 21 years old, will use an elevator. Everywhere else, I will walk up every flight of stairs. I do not care. I hate elevators, and it's a thing.
But yeah, so my third tattoo was also done by the same artist as the first two. This one is a little smaller. It's my semicolon with a heart, and this one is one of the tattoos I unfortunately regret. Definitely a spur of a moment tattoo. I remember I had, like, a big paycheck that day or something. It was when I was 19 and had no responsibilities. I didn't live on my own yet, you know. I was just irresponsible, and I was like, dope, I have a big paycheck. You know what I'm gonna do? Get a tattoo. And I had already planned to get my backs touched up by the artist anyways, because they needed, like, there's a couple wings that were, like, kind of fading, and a couple spots weren't filled in all the way. And the artist was totally cool. He's like, yeah, dude, come on by. He's like, I'll touch it up for free, you know, just come on in. I'm open from this time to this time. So I gave him a time and I'd be there. And I went, and then I had been talking about, because at the time I got this tattoo, it was when 13 Reasons Why was, like, a huge deal. It was a huge show at the time, and I still, now that I've grown up and looking back, I don't like this show at all anymore. There's a lot of problematic themes in it, and a lot of stuff that's just flat out not true that I've found. But, like, that's when everyone got really big about, like, the semicolon and depression awareness and blah, 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 blah. And I had mental health struggles my whole life. I still go through mental health problems every single day in my life. It is a constant process, and it's just an everyday thing. You have to keep working at it. If you don't work at it, it's just gonna fall. And that's one of the things that, like, I really loved about the Semicolon Project, and, like, that's why I think that's why I loved the show so much, is because definitely who I was as a person when I was 19 is obviously very different than who I am now. But that person also was very alone and very, like, felt very lonely. Every moment of my day, I felt very lonely and very alone because at that point, it's that hard transition that everyone goes through between high school and college, or like even at this point, I was almost dropped out of college at this point for the first time, which story time on that later. But yeah, it was a really rough time in my life, and like that show had come out and it was so great to see people like finally get it. Is kind of what I'm getting at. Like, it was nice to see that people finally understood exactly like what my mind was going through. And it, like, obviously I said, looking back, I don't care for the show, but I didn't get the tattoo for the show. I got it for myself as a reminder as well, because I've struggled with depression, especially most of my life, and it comes out a lot, like with self-harm and stuff. And as morbid as it is, I specifically picked this placement for a reason, and I'll leave it at that. I picked this placement for a reason. But it also, I kind of regret it purely because the artist that did it, this is when like his quality of work wasn't doing well anymore. With the bats and the books, like, it was okay work. It was good. It was good enough to have on my body for the rest of my life and me feel like that it looked okay. But this one, it's like, it's a little patchy, and I wanted the top to be a heart, and it's kind of like a blob, and it just didn't, it's not one of those that I would like. I'd probably cover it up and maybe get it again reimagined by a different artist who I trust, and like, obviously knowing what I know now, I would rather pay more money for my tattoos and then look amazing than be like, oh, it's only $150, but it looks good enough that I can wear it on my body for the rest of my life and it's not ugly. I have more, like, I don't want to say self-worth, but like I have more of an understanding that I'd rather pay $500 than $150 for, you know what I mean? I'd rather pay $500 for a masterpiece than $150 for like, it's okay. Like, you know what I mean? But this is my third tattoo. It has the water tower from my hometown. I'm covering it up just so you guys don't know my general location. And it says, if you mean it, you will make it. So this one was kind of another spur of the moment tattoo. So I got by a different artist that was more of a traditional artist, like traditional tattooing style. And at this phase in my life, it's when I started to really appreciate traditional style tattoos. I also think it was because this is when I got into like pop punk really heavy, and I started like listening to Good Charlotte and Bowling for Soup and The Wonder Years all the time, because a lot of those bands, it's all they talk about is how much growing up sucks, and like little Tori was finally getting her taste of adulthood, so she finally thought she could, like, I'd be like, yes, I know what you mean, finally, but realistically, like, 19-year-old Tori didn't know. This one I had gotten because it was like, I at the point was just really itching for another tattoo. I just really wanted another one super bad, and wanted to pay homage to my hometown. I love it. There's so many good memories. The interstate, if you come off the interstate from like down south, you'll usually see it. It's the water tower, and I love it. And it's one of the most iconic memories of my childhood, especially like when I moved to, like, especially when me and my mom moved when I was younger, when we moved out of that town. It was so great to see that water tower whenever you were coming back to visit. Yeah, and I got, if you mean it, you will make it. That's what the lyrics say. It is a lyric from my favorite band of all time. At the time, the lyric was from a song that had just come out, that they had just released. And so I was so excited to like finally be like, I'm old enough to get my favorite band's lyrics tattooed on me. I'm so excited, yay! So I just picked like the randomest one, and because it kind of was turned into like, if you'll mean it, you'll make it. And it turned into kind of a tattoo for my mom as well, because she really wanted to give me and her a good shot at living life, just me and her on her own. And that was the thing, was she worked so hard in that town, in apartment 34 as well, just to like kind of build the stepping stones to where we are now, which is so cool. So yeah, I've definitely thought about like not getting the lyrics like laser removal, because like that's never in the cards for me. Like I would rather get it covered up, especially because this arm I do want a fit, like eventually to be a sleeve, but I don't know. But as time goes on, I kind of do like it because both lyrics do, like obviously I said, that's still my favorite band of all time. I still enjoy it, enjoy the music. I still like the song. It's just one of the more basic songs, and I didn't really want to be that guy, but I was anyway. So, wardrobe change. All right, so that brings us to the final countdown. I should just keep moving up the stairs, honestly. So that brings us to our final two tattoos. So the second to most recent tattoo I have is on my thigh. I had to do a slight wardrobe change just to show this one. The last one I am actually not going to show on camera, purely because it's not in a bad spot. It's just in a spot that's a little too revealing for me to put on YouTube or on the internet, realistically, considering that I'm pretty sure my family has already found my channel at this point. So I'll just tell you what it is. But my second to last tattoo I have is this guy on my leg. I have, you can kind of see my last one. This one is my all-time favorite tattoo I have. It is my, it's the first big piece I have. All the tattoos I have had before my thigh piece all took less than an hour. So this was my first, long session. This one took about 4.5 hours to do, roughly. But this baby turned a year old officially yesterday. I don't know when I'll upload this, but April 30th is this guy's birthday. But I got this tattoo because as long as I can remember, even when I was a kid, ancient Egypt was my favorite subject of history of all time. And I'm sure I've mentioned it before, but I'm a world history major, and on top of that, I'm just a big nerd. I love history more than anything. I adore it. Obviously that's what I'm going to school for. But ancient Egypt was the topic and the subject that got me into history altogether, especially world history. That is where it all started, and it even dates back as far as to me hanging out in that bookstore when I was a kid, because I would go there and literally I probably read every single book about ancient Egypt that poor woman had. To be 100% real, because I'd ask her all the time. I'd be like, hey, do you have a new Egypt books? And she'd be like, no, I don't, and she would order Egyptian coloring books for me all the time and stuff. It was so cool. I loved her. But yeah, Egypt is one of my favorite topics ever, and I love Egyptian mythology. If you ever get really bored, because a lot of people talk about Roman and Greek mythology, where is the appreciation for Egyptian mythology? Egyptian mythology is so cool, and I get it. The Romans and the Greeks, they had cooler, more exciting stories, but the Egyptians really were very, I don't want to say, they were just very into it, and it was very much their mythology more or less was it played more of a role in their daily lives than I feel like it did with the, on the other side of things, pretty much they had, because the Romans and the Greeks had mythology for every circumstance. Obviously, they had a creation story, they had, you know what I mean? They had all those sorts of things, but Egyptian mythology just played, it was more of an everyday thing, I feel like, and I really like it, and I love the art style. But one of my favorite topics of ancient Egyptian history is the whole their whole belief system on death. I really thought that the Egyptians had a cool take on death, honestly. Death isn't cool at all, it sucks, honestly. But I really enjoyed, I enjoy it. I don't know. I really enjoy how they talk about what happens after you die and the afterlife and stuff. And I thought that was always so cool. And Anubis, if you don't know, is the god of the underworld, which is basically like the Egyptian version of hell. But he plays such a huge role in mummification and like the whole process, like their whole judgment story, quote unquote, like what they believe that judgment will look like at the end of your life. That's what I'm getting at. You know, Anubis plays a whole huge role in all of those things, and I think that's super cool. So I had to get my boy Anubis. And then on the bottom here, you can see that's a scarab beetle, and he has a scarab beetle right here. Scarab beetles are signs of protection and for kind of just to ward off like bad vibes, kind of like they're kind of like a, you know, don't kill my vibe type of deal, like in ancient Egyptian culture. So I threw a scarab beetle on there because I'm always don't kill my vibe, you know? That's just always how I feel. But yeah, that one's my favorite tattoo I have for sure. The last one, which I can't show you, which you guys kind of got a little side peek of on accident, is a little heart. It's actually just a simple little heart, and it is on the side of my leg. It's just a little too close to my bum to show on camera. But that one was actually just a spur of a moment tattoo as well. That one I got super recently. Like, yeah, my mom doesn't even know about this, so sorry, Mom, if you're watching this. But I got it probably like a month and a half ago because my roommate does stick and poke tattoos. And she had, at the time, she tattooed my boyfriend's hand. She had tattooed his zodiac signs. He's a Leo. But pretty much after that happened, I was kind of like, I've never gotten a stick and poke. I know a whole lot of people that have. I should do it. So I talked my roommate into tattooing me because it's always been a thing that, also I'm going to preface this warning, sorry to any family member that is watching this right now. Very sorry, because you're going to find out a whole lot about me which you just didn't want to know. But like everyone that knows me knows that I do want a full butt tattoo at one point. Like not just a little heart or a little like flower. Like, no, I really just want like my whole cheek tattooed one day. Like it's a thing. Everybody knows this about me. But if you don't know, stick and poke hurts a lot worse than actual like professional tattooing machines. So because of that, I out on like getting a start of something on my butt. Like I just kind of was like, we'll throw it here. So he's kind of he's a little bit like over by the scarab wing on the top of my Anubis tattoo. They kind of go together a little nicely. And I like them. I like the heart a lot. It's another one of the tattoos that mean more because one of my friends did it, obviously, so it's going to mean a lot more. Hey, that's it. That's a tattoo tour. But yeah, so tattoos are awesome. I think they're cool. I definitely want to get a lot more. I was actually planning on getting a tattoo, then, you know what? Then blank happened. Everybody knows what happened. That's why I just kind of don't talk about it because there's no reason to. You know, everybody already knows what the tea is. So it is what it is. We just got to stay home, stay safe, stay quarantined, and wait it out. That's all we're here for. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope I can give you guys some quality content while you guys are staying home, staying safe. Let me know in the comments if you would like to see something else, something different, something better. Like I said, I have a hard time coming up with ideas for videos because I have a lot of things that I think would be cool, but I don't know if you guys would think they would be cool. So just please let me know. Just let me know what you think. That'd be cool. All right. Bye, guys.